Cheers, everybody. We'll start in a minute. Okay, let's get started. It's taping on live, so we should get started. Okay, good evening, everybody, and we're going to talk about some research studies, just the research basis of yoga, meditation, even mudras, perhaps chanting for chronic pain. Chronic pain, just as Neelam presented, is an array of areas, but it's good to do it as a topic, and then we can have different focuses as we do each disease where pain may be involved. It'll all come together in that way, right? So we're going to start with general approaches. Good. So we're going to talk about the objectives, some issue of pain and challenges, how yoga medicine could help pain. Then review some RCTs. I'll show one a little bit more sort of structural details to see what that means, so some of you do know. And then, of course, how subtle therapies like chanting, mudras could play a role. We'll a little bit also touch on Preksha Dhyana and its role in pain management. And then some guidelines, so at least we can discuss some protocols we could emerge from that. Okay, so what is chronic pain? Well, of course, pain is very well known in every person, every family. It's not something that we don't have in our lives. And worldwide, 20% of adults experience chronic pain. Chronic pain is more than 6 weeks, as Neelam explained, and 1 in 5 is a lot. Right? 1 in 5 is billions of people. So it's a major global health issue. Pain has 3 models. Generally, people talk about a biological model, which is physical, the nerve, the pain, the fiber, inflammation that we heard about. And also the psychological, which is how you address it, and your psychological impact on the pain, and the social environment. And so all 3 play a role. And it's good to remember that, because all 3 we can perhaps act on and use it to help the pain. If they're causing pain, we can maybe harness them to help manage pain. Generally, it works through the central nervous system, and then, of course, the rest of it is your damaging and tissue damage and what have you. So those 3 models are good to kind of keep in mind as we move forward. And then there's this vicious cycle of pain. Vicious cycle of pain with limitations of conventional treatment. So you can't, you obviously, when you're in pain, you have fear, fear of movement, even fear of something else wrong. You could Dr. Google, look for causes, and get further deep into worrying about the pain. And the pain and the worry wins, you Are they social? Are you physically deconditioned? And in a sense, that makes it worse because you're caught in this cycle. You would then go for treatment and help, and they're very limited. The powerful painkillers have side effects, surgeries has side effects, and typically they help manage but don't really fully address underlying pain in chronic pain. So there's a big role for yoga and other holistic therapies, and to try and break this cycle, because they actually function in all those three domains. And we'll understand how, perhaps. Um, good. So visual represent pain cycle. There's pain initiation on the left. Pain triggers emotional response, anxiety, fear. It goes to muscle tension. So now, how else does it cause misery? Well, if I have a headache, so now at some point my posture is going to change. My neck's going to be strained, right? If I have a backache, I might walk hunched up. And now I'm affecting other bones, other joints, my posture, my positivity, the muscle tension, uh, limits my movement and somewhat increases pain, if not where it was, another source of pain can emerge. And the reduced movement, then, as we mentioned above, leads to more issues, not just pain. So it's a vicious cycle. So pain has other reasons why it is very uh, um, destructive. And visually, the mechanisms are prefrontal cortex, and somebody touched on that, which helps regulate pain signals. And that can enhance, reduce pain perception. It has a top-down control. So if I work on that, I can help my pain sensation, if I like, or reduce my signals of pain. Amygdala is again in the near the hypothalamus that somebody talks about in the what we call the animation brain. That acts as the fear center, and that can amplify pain. So the pain I get, the fear will amplify it, and then I'll kick into my emotional response, my hormonal response, and my glands will start secreting. And so you can see how this could exacerbate your pain or cause further damage elsewhere. And in general, yoga does strengthen regulation. We've learned that many ways. We've heard so many talks on that. And in general, it strengthens the prefrontal context. And so it kind of gives you that control, like exact control. I can control how much I feel the pain, how it's going to affect me, and that can reduce the pain. Very important. Again, so the pain cycle we talked about, inactive shifts increase pain. And these are the organs I talked about, the prefrontal cortex, which is also one that regulates your calmness and well-being, the amygdala, and the pain signal going up there. So the imagery here is what we're working with. We're working with that when we work with pain, right? So even if I affect the pain fibers where the pain is coming from, I may not be working on this. So sometimes this also needs to be worked on. And this may sound the only way that we can work on to manage the pain in some circumstances. So these are the areas we talked about. Okay. So what happens to the brain and DNA metabolism? So one way that yoga works is affect structure. So if you look at brain, chronic brain state, your prefrontal cortex is hypertrophied. So this is the area here. So atrophy is kind of less because it's less able to function, less neurons, less amount, and less control, so rest, regulation, calm. Whereas the amygdala, which is here, the fear center, is increased because it's got much blood flow, more use, and any when the body is more use, it gets bigger, right? My right tends to be my left, so I use it more. So that means now I've got that process. So in chronic pain, we see that. With yoga, we see, particularly with longer duration, we see increased gray matter, which includes your prefrontal. So prefrontal cortex here is part of your gray matter. All this thing is your gray matter. So we see increase in that. And you reduce the fear center, the Abhay, right? The fearless. But generally, yoga will lead you to reduced mental activity. So therefore, we know your brain is neuroplastic, right? Your brain's ability to make changes, even at our age or your age, younger than me, it still has the ability to make changes. It's not fixed. And so you can see tools like yoga could be very powerful at root cause fix, okay, neuroplasticity. The network, so there's a default mode network, and it basically returns things. And it's a lot more to the DMN, but for our purposes, it helps you ruminate. So, why did that car crash and hurt my back? Why did they do it? I just ruminate over it. Why? What did they do? What could I have done? And that rumination, and you feel bad for yourself and bad driver, and why did they do it? You can get caught in this cycle called rumination, and so that becomes very hyperactive. This cyclical negative thinking. Yoga has shown to deactivate that. So when you do that, that cycle diminishes, and so this is your attention control. So another area that you can kind of work on. And then we looked further ourselves and others at gene expression. So in every cell that you study on yoga, even practice then, you will see NFK beta active. So what is that? Well, that is the boss. That's the one that determines how much inflammation I have from one of the major pathways. So in your DNA, based on which gene you express, this NFK beta determines whether you express more of the inflammatory pathways or less. Now, it's important in infection fighting. So, we've got malaria, and you want that to turn on off. But here it's dysregulated, it's chronic. And that, again, yoga is a very powerful way to reduce that. It's as good as some of the most expensive drugs with IV. It works that well. So you lower your inflammatory response. Again, we'll show it in some of the studies and as before. So to do these changes, you have epigenetics. So you're basically changing the gene to turn things on off because of yoga, right? So you're now using your positive strategies and tools that are ancient wisdom tools to modulate the DNA to turn things off and on in a way that helps you manage your problem. So this is a very cool way, and it's how, if you think about it, it relates to your karma and your Purusharth, right? So I'm making a change out of intent, and I'm making that what could be, let's say, your fixed gene and activity. I'm actually making a change of that, right? So you can see I can link to that. And then metabolism. So genes are one thing, but what do genes make? They make metabolites, right? They make your proteins, they make your chemistry that you know about. So those metabolites that you make, right? So when you're stressed, right, pain and stress, you get high cortisol. We talked about it before. Your cortisol goes up, adrenal gland goes up, your system from your pituitary goes down and wakes up the gland, makes more cortisol, which is going to, of course, short term helps you, long term it hurts you. And in the brain, the transmitting between nerves is attenuated when you're stressed. So you're not communicating well to kind of fix with good parts of your brain. It's kind of a little attenuated. And GABA has other changes like also your tension. So it has other deficits also. Again, if you do yoga meditation, you'll see your cortisol lower, which we've seen before. You have the relaxation response, but your GABA goes up a good quarter, maybe more. So now I've got far more communication, right? My transmission between nerves is much more effective, and I can start working on controlling this. So all of this has been studied in a very good way, and so this is very, very powerful slide, and very important to kind of think through holistically down to the tiny, tiny parts of your body that yoga impacts. It's through and through effect, very powerful. Okay, so having said that, that's the basis, and we know it can work. What has happened? So let's look at some studies, RC's randomized controlled trials. We mentioned that they're the best ones to talk about. And the others we can look at is when we did a study on 50 people, this happened. Fine and well and good, but if it wasn't randomized, you don't know if it's true science, just luck of the draw, luck of toss of a coin. or effect of a person being optimistic, or the environment, or 50 people get together, so happy together, they start feeling better. All those are true known factors, and you don't know, right? So you've got to be judicious. So when you get all these messages from people, this is a great thing, works. Again, if you're in a medical field, you realize that it doesn't work like that. I wish it did. So be careful. Doesn't matter how nice a person is, how convinced they are. If the data is not at level, I wouldn't fall for that. Okay. I'm talking about current era. I'm not talking about the yogis of the past, or talk about like current era with the media. Okay. So the chronic low back pain studies, for example, they've shown strong evidence. In fact, it's one of the things that's almost a recommendation now, you could say medically, has the strongest evidence base as an effective intervention for chronic low back pain. A large study compared a 12-week specialized yoga program to usual care and showed significant back function, and it was as effective as physical therapy to reduce physical disability and functioning of the patient. So we know it's as good as, and of course, physical therapy goes to a therapist and expense, and you have to be a good person, and a lot of other hooks to that, whereas yoga, you can teach, learn, and do it themselves. So benefits of yoga are, of course, cheaper and self-controlled. It's a study I'm going a little deeper on because it's very recent, and just you understand why it's important to kind of look at the study carefully before you kind of start quoting it, at least in some format. So this is a 12-week course of Hatha Yoga versus a wait list. And outcomes at 12 and 24 weeks, right? So 3 and 6 months. What a wait list means is that if there are 6 of you, right, 3 of you randomly will start the yoga now, and the other 3 will start in 6 months. So right now, the 3 star and 3 didn't start with regular therapy are compare each other, and then the one that didn't get started, such as we also have their data. So it's kind of a little bit like control, not perfect. It is not the top RCT for the reasons that make sense, because they know they're waiting, but at least it's a decent study because of limitations of these studies. So it's not top notch, but it's still considered RCT if it's done properly with reviews, and you can use that. So in this single blind 2-arm, right, the 140 is large sample size, right, about 45 plus 47 plus or minus 11 years. And they were in clinic, they had a health plan, so they were like employees in the system. They had 12 weeks, 60-minute virtual group of yoga classes. Okay. Kumar's manualized protocol, and there's a nice protocol, which by the way, once is like book we can share, which tells you what they did. It's very interesting to read, but also the poses you understand. And the poses they increased as we are over time and get the harder ones, so they did a whole bunch of poses. And they're twin starts per class, etc. So they have to be very fake so that everybody gets the same exposure. They use props, like we talked about, chair straps, to help people who had limited abilities, so that everybody could participate. And they encourage 30 minutes daily in between the sessions. Okay? And the control wait list, they use usual care, didn't get assessed during intervention, but they were then in the program. So there's some weaknesses. You could have argued that I should have talked to them every same time, even though I didn't do anything. See, just talking makes a difference. You can see how, in a scientific way, that's a little weaker, but practical realities are to be followed. They found significant reductions, right? So what they did here, if I can, I hope this is not getting in your way. So here's their movement, so the ability to function. Okay, the RM is a question that says they're functioning with the back, like when they do activities, how well, how frequently, without hesitating. It's kind of a nice way to score how much it's affecting you. All right. So this is yoga minus control. So the extra benefit of yoga. So as it drops means your better function. Okay, your reduction of bad functions. So here a drop is a good thing. 12 weeks you saw a significant drop, and then 24 weeks even larger drop. Okay. Likewise, you had a difference in different parts of the protocol, which also showed differences. So this is after the group was the second group got therapy, also got benefit. So you can see it's consistently better than control. So here is yoga minus control. Same here is yoga minus yourself as a control. The ones who waited then had it. They looked at themselves before and after, and they found this difference. Okay, and it's a good journal, JAMA. So it's authentic journal, good statistical review. So you can trust these journals. They're one of the top journals in the world, actually. Okay, and then they looked at the pain, which is of course more important. So what they found is in yoga group, right? They found the reduction in pain in many, almost double to the ones that had just regular therapy, just waiting regular therapy. So improvement at 12 weeks. And then they look separately at reduction of pain. So pain improvement, but this is comparing with a group that just had regular pills like Advil. And again, they saw it's a lesser difference, but they saw a difference consistently and it was significant. So again, you can see that there are benefits to so a good study with some limitations, but it's good enough for us to use because there's no bias, right? Effects occurred because they occurred. They weren't created by any artificial way. The study also found the sleep quality improved, which of course can help pain, right? If I'm sleeping better, I'm calmer, as Nina pointed out, then you will then have less pain, less anxiety. So that improved also as well. And there are really no serious events, some few transient exacerbations or fear, because of meditation, but it was pretty safe, which you expect. Okay, so now we can see how powerful this is from even a recent study in Cleveland Clinic. So what is generally their approach, and other studies will use their approach, is they broke it into floor and standing exercises, and they went over time to more difficult ones, but they did a whole bunch of them. So the laying backward knee to chest, Panasana, then the pelvic tilts, spiral twist, which you've learned, Supta is hamstring, kind of, you can use that for straps. So we probably had to look at that a little bit, but we probably have done that. And of course, bridge pose, which we have the Siddha Dandasana. And then prone, they did Cobra pose, which totally makes sense. Low crux pose, which just recently got introduced. We may not all have done that, but we've been introduced to that. The cat cow we've done, and of course the child pose. Okay, so we clearly have done some of this, or will be getting better. They use some of these, and then for the standing series, they use a mountain pose, Tadasana. They did Utkatasana, which is a chair pose, and it all makes sense to think about what we're trying to fix. Then Trikonasana, the lateral stretches. Then Virabhadrasana, some is a warrior two, which we sort of touched up on a little bit. Tree pose, which we have, which is improved balance and proprioception, which is you're not falling over, and that stabilizes your spine gets both muscles work and stabilizes your spine. And the standing forward bend, which makes sense, you're really bending your spine, which is going to help. And again, people had straps, they had things to assist if they couldn't for some reason. And then, of course, the final bit, which we expect they would have done, is they did the breath, and relaxation. They did the diaphragm breathing, which is the Kapalbhati, and they did Ujjayi, ocean breath, which you talked about through the vagus nerve, which we do for even the thyroid. And then they did Karsagwa Savasana here for the sessions. So they 16 sessions, they didn't do all of them all the time. They just escalated to harder ones, and all of them had their relaxation part. So just an idea of how you can study this and what you could put together. Others have seen osteoarthritis. Again, we had questions just about what osteoarthritis is, and it causes pain. It's common as cause of pain, I would say, and that's basically wear and tear, and then your hardware, your spine has spicules and bits that stick out all the time, and that's arthritis. And nearby cause inflammation, and then it may trap a nerve, may hurt them, may give spasm in the muscle. So that's where your mischief starts with use, disuse, age, time, all the factors we heard from a talk yesterday. Right. So again, Iyengar Yoga, which is one of the ones that so recommends we look up in the books, I think reference we have. Use props like blocks, And you can reduce knee pain and stiffness. So in this study, they found significant benefit. They also found with that, they had mantra, almost one that they used, and they found better mood and improved sleep in this population compared to control group. And the control group actually had music. So in this particular study, I like because they used something that could help in the other group, and this group they did mantra, so you can compare like with like, and mantra still was better than music listening, which was calming. So it's more than just the calming. There's something else the mantra is bringing that's beneficial. So that's good to know. And again, they found sleep was better, and that seemed to help how much pain you feel. So it's a good study. So a nice one, you can see these other benefits. And then another rheumatoid arthritis, again, if you know people in the family or people have had it, it's a not osteoarthritis where it's just the bone and spicules and things like that. This is where you got inflammation because your disease, because your body's attacking. Just like when you have diabetes, your body's attacking your pancreas. Um, this is a condition where your body's immune system is attacking you for reasons which are unique to the individual and their genetic makeup and their background. But in this condition, also pain is quite severe. They need steroids, medications, chronic pain, quite miserable sometimes. Again, in this study, they found yoga shows. This study was like a study of studies, good studies. They found yoga and mindfulness significantly reduces pain. Interesting, particularly in the morning, the stiffness is gone, so more mobile. And therefore, you're psychologically better, you're less anxiety, and your depression scores were less. So in this study, they found that it effectively manages these symptoms, and it seems to be working at that level because your other blood tests are the same, but you're feeling better and your joint is moving better. So it's very, very good to understand that and see how it helps. Okay, so in healthy joint, you see cartilage and meniscus, which we talked about even yesterday. Neil showed pictures of that, and then here you see the joint space here is gone. See that this thing is thick, the meniscus is thickened. It's normal, it's thickened, it's thinning. And you get this inflammation, is highlighted by the red color around, and the swelling. And this inflammation chips away, eats away, and hits your pain things. And your bone is eroded. It's quite a nasty condition, very for the joints. Okay, so that can help. And then, as we touched a little bit, Om Mantra help. So talk a little bit about that. The only thing I would caution is very rarely there is a study with just the chanting or just the mudras. This is part of a package. So could we say that help? Maybe we couldn't say that because it's part of a package. It's like you get a package and the package works. Which part of package works? You'd have the other studies to find out what. But certainly from that point of view, what they did, we should know about, so we can employ that. So generally, why would chanting help? Well, it extends. So when I chant, of course, chanting, but I'm also extending my exhalation. And we already know when I do that, I'm sympathetic vagus nerve, I'm more parasympathetic, less sympathetic, and it's soothing my system, right? Limbic system is my neuroendocrine system, right? So in a chronic neck pain study, mind sound resonance, which is sound and resonance of sound, showed significant pain, tenderness, and disability reduction. So in this study, they did specifically only this MSRT. And again, the study is available. I'll give reference and look it up. So in this study, they did select out that, which is, I think, showing that it's helpful. Another study used chanting Gayatri Mantra, and which showed that reduced your anxiety and perception of labor pain in pregnancy. And again, it's a study. So there's clearly potential there to add to regimen or do separately if for some reason you can't do yoga as in pregnancy. Likewise, mudras. Again, just single mudras as a study are rare because it's part of the broader holistic protocol. Hand positioning and dexterity from yoga improves range of motion. So it's not just relaxation, I feel less pain, but by making people do that, my hands can move better, my fingers can better. So I got therapy as a physical therapy also. It's not just the points which would be helpful as somebody is teaching us, But just by doing that constantly, I've got more movement, and therefore I get movement back. So it's got a dual benefit. Vayu and Apan-Vayu mudra have been used traditionally for air imbalance in joints, as is the gas and bloating in the bowel, because again, better air packaging in the joints may help. So both Vayu and Apan-Vayu mudra are commonly used, as is Gyan mudra, which is another pain management meditation, and it seems to promote your parasympathetic system, which is the one that's relaxing. So those are ones used there, and again, we'll get more on those from Adanya Swamiji. The Sandhi mudra is interesting. It's called the joint mudra, and it's a new thing. I didn't know until I prepared this, but it's used often in this setting for joint pain, osteoarthritis, and stiffness. And Sandhi basically is connection of joints, so it's simple meaning. But the reason why they say that it's simple mudra is just the left and right hand is something different. So it's a combination for this. So it's not too complicated. So right hand would be earth, right? So your ring finger, which is earth, and thumb, fire. Your left hand would be your fire with your middle finger, like that, Akash, okay? So if you do Akash and earth, right, I know 15 minutes, as somebody says, same sort of time, then you're representing space, and therefore you relieve the pressure inside the joint capsule, and then you're rooted by the earth. So this kind of is they're often used in studies for joint symptoms. So lastly, we'll go with some Prachadhyan systems for pain. Again, we need to add to this data, and many of the systems are similar when you do the mindfulness, which is very much Pracha, right? So, and we can extrapolate very freely, but certainly there's some work in Prachadhyan, we should look at that. And we'll go over this again in other related studies, but clearly we have Karasag, which is your relaxation. And since we're relaxing by pressure, looking and asking about relax, probably deeper relaxation than just lying like a regular. Somebody says this is actually perception. So it's one notch above just relaxing. Anupreksha, which is your contemplation, so is auto-suggestion, which we're learning more. Particularly the session meditation yesterday was very nice auto-suggestion about how resilient you are to stay, how much you can repair. And Diksvaspesha, which is a very big pressure down, the deep, slow breathing, from which calm and reduction in pain. And there are some studies where this is used. One is a study in abdominal pain. The study that I did actually, where we looked at pressure therapy and in children with abdominal pain, chronic abdominal pain. And we found a significant improvement in pain scores as anxiety. And again, we'll present this more fully in some, but certainly pain there, we saw a response that we were happily surprised to see. The degree was surprising. And then another condition where you have a lichen, which is a skin condition around the mouth, that's chronic and hard to treat. And in this study in India, they used a combination of basic pressure therapy, and they found reduced burning sensation. When they measured the markers, immune response, they found positive changes that helped make sense of that. So there's work in pain in pressure. Good. So in summary, I'm just going to go over some of the poses so that when Ramesh goes over, you kind of have some basis. He'll, of course, review it pretty well. Then we talk about for chronic low pain, we do cat-cow, child pose, baby cobra swing, which is the first of the three cobra that we learned. And supine is a Supta Matyachandasan, knee chest, Asana, and leg up to ball, which you all heard of, and Ramesh just mentioned that, and we addressed that. And then the other ones, very briefly, are used in neck pain. So neck pain, which we have neck isometrically pressing head against the hand. So this is slightly different. So because be careful and so we can do that, but if you do neck pain against the hand, it might help strengthen the muscle. So isometric exercises, which are you fix the muscle for movement and you just push, that helps the muscle grow faster than your movement ones. It's just a muscle thing. So sometimes that can be helpful. That's the only thing I want to point out that they use that study. Again, we may not want to do that ourselves because we're not sure how well they are, may not want to, but in the study they did. Shoulder rolls and shrugs, which we do, that's more like your routine exercise. Eagle arms, we kind of probably have done in separate ways. And then they have other ones we mostly done, ear to shoulder stretches we've done, and the staff pose, which is isometric quad. So this is again where you're working on the muscle, but you're allowing the muscle to be held, just like in chair pose, in a position where it grows better. Some will have to be shown, of course. Then knee osteoarthritis, you've got of course, staff has talked about the mountain pose. This is kind of like the chair pose, if you like. And then you have the supported bridge where you hold the bridge up. And based on ability, you can make it simpler, as we saw weekend for last, but still get benefit. Okay. And then fibromyalgia, which is another chronic cause of pain. So what fibromyalgia is really more the tendons and she's a go to the muscles pain as opposed to the muscle or the bone or the nerve. And that's a very common condition. Probably, good 5%, maybe more people have it. And it's again, it's linked to stress, social issues, but also some physical problem. And in that, Savasana probably cards are given. And the restorative bridge poses, which we talked about, legs up we talked about, and the gentle seated forward fold help in that condition. And again, there's studies to show these have worked. They're used in studies in RCTs. This is specifically used. We can certainly come up with others, and I'm sure there'll be others we could use, but these are in studies that we can quote. And like when migraine and tension headache, the downward dog, which is Ardha Mukha Savasana, child's pose again, bridge pose, and seated forward fold. So these have been used in that and shown benefit. Again, the focus on grounding, reaching sensory input, inversions of head with the heart, cautious is regular blood flow. Right. So this is the basis of that. Again, things you could do yourself. So in conclusion, holistic pain management has a big role. I suspect a bigger role because Western medicine surgery is very limited and more salvage or side effects. We just want to try and avoid them. And currently this is used as, this is commonly practiced to try and avoid. As other complementary medicines, Ayurveda, but diet, and as also acupuncture, etc. But many of those are shown to improve outcomes. So very important part of yoga therapy and Preksha therapy. Okay, so I'll stop there. And it's 8:39, so we started a couple minutes late. So I think we're for some time for questions. All right, any questions? Nice to meet you.
Yes. Thank you very about very informative talk on the pain, and you have covered all those researches also, which shows that how yoga can help us to come out of this pain problem. So it was wonderful talk. If somebody has any question, they can raise the questions.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say thank you. That was a wonderful talk, and I really appreciate the slides at the end with the different asanas with different conditions. I thought that was really helpful, so I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, good to digest it at the end, I think so. And the slides are always going to be available to you, but you're right. You look at so much so often, so yeah.
Yeah, I agree that it was very good, very comprehensive. So I missed yesterday's session. Perhaps this was covered yesterday, but what is the basis for pain? Where does pain originate? And I do believe that vibrations like mantra create vibrations Commonly, I've experienced that when I have a mild headache, if I do Om chanting mantras for 5 minutes, it helps. So, but I'm curious about the mechanism. Where is it the pain originates and how does the vibration helps?
Yeah, good question. So, what Neelam explained yesterday is that you have various places in your tissue where the pain will be coming from that can give you pain. It could be from the nerve ending itself, right? Or it could be from the vessels that have pain sensors, blood vessels. It could be from the muscle, could be from the bone. And sometimes for the practicing physician, when you come to, it's very hard to figure out where it's coming from. But there's certain clues. She had a slide, and we look at, but that depend on dull pain, which is more from muscle, or sharp pain is probably from nerve. You can sometimes figure out where it's coming from. But once it occurs, it travels up to those areas of the brain, which I sort of showed you. And then all sorts of things can happen, right? You can ignore it, you can blunt it, you can, as you say, take deep breathing, you can just tolerate it. There are lots of things you could do. But in the real world, we don't do that because we don't know what we're doing. We react, the pain. And once the pain goes on for 4, 6 weeks, it's chronic. So you have to develop some system to deal with it, right? Because it's not going away. And that system could be faulty. It could be distrust, depression, anxiety, could be withdrawal, right? Social isolation or avoiding going to parties or whatever, right? So that compounds the pain. There's a whole other dimension to pain that compounds the pain. So now what could be 20% gets magnified to 40%. I'm just give an example, but you can magnify it by your response. And so that's the pain. Of course, the pathways along there, pathways you have, they're curative. You yourself make endorphins. So you make something like morphine yourself to try and help the pain. So there are many restorative pathways you have to manage the pain, let alone the disease, but the pain also. But they depend on your brain and your ability to do it without distraction and without confusing, without your cortisol up. All that will mess that up, right? So it's a very complex mess. Then on top of that, I kind of think it's a good time to mention this thing called post-traumatic. You kind of understand post-traumatic stress, where people go to a war zone, come back, and they kind of get together. Even they're trained soldiers, let's say. Same thing happens in a way for chronic pain. You've now got this fear, which you cannot control, is taken over because every time you go to that room, that place, sitting where the pain cut hits you. So that now grows in you. So it's got multiple layers like that. Then you sleep, you fatigue. So you can imagine any with chronic pain, if you live with any with chronic pain, any with chronic pain, you'll find that they have many other issues that are affecting that pain. Equally, you find others where the pain may be the same, but they do things like do something, they accept it, tolerate, they think it's their karma, they should, whatever, they have some frame of reference that may put pain in context. Well, I have pain, I'm still going to do what I want to do because it's just pain. So your frame of reference can change. So pain has all these dimensions. To your point, I think mantra definitely helps, but you also have faith in it. And so, is it faith or is it not? When you randomized controlled trials, you can take the faith out because that study they did mantra versus music.
Yeah.
Faith was not involved.
Yeah.
Right, and it worked. So I think it says it could be vibration. Music is almost as good as mantra. Why did mantra work? Yeah. Right, could be a vagal nerve because I'm doing more breathing in the music. I'm not breathing as much. But you can now have the next question: is it your breathing? Is it the vibration? You can study that. But to your point, that's kind of how the story unfolds.
Yeah. And with yoga, in layman's terms, yoga will relax the muscles, help relax the muscles. And if the origin of the pain is muscular, that makes sense that yoga would help relieve the pain.
Yeah, and if you think about yoga, particularly because physically you stretch receptors, so muscle has receptors, right? They have stretch receptors. So when you stretch, and even just doing those relaxes you. It's just separate. Anything that stretches your muscle receptors is relaxing. So yoga has many reasons, but pranayama has extraordinary, and if you like, Mantha, extraordinary effects, because there you're working through your vagal pathway, right, which controls some of your pain. Some are not vagal, some are your spinactic, your spinal nerves, but the vagal ones you will control because you're sympathetic, parasympathetic. So I think in some conditions where those pathways involved, or you can engage, then you'll find, I'm fairly sure you'll find pranayama has a unique ability to help. But anyway, some will guide us. This is part of the process. Some things are going to be unknown. Some things we should investigate, but this becomes a very important area. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good questions.
I had a quick question. So I see yoga helps with pain management along with medications, but if you stop the practice, does it hurt more then, or how long, like, do we continuously keep on doing it to get
Studies have. Go ahead, you finish.
to get rid of the pain? Like, I know yoga helps temporarily, like, but it doesn't, the condition is still there. So people with chronic pain, it's beneficial for them to continue the practice, but you know how some people give up in between. So then I wanted to know.
Yeah, so you're right. I think for anything to work, particularly these ancient wisdom techniques like yoga, you have to persist for a while. And it may not be just I feel relaxed, which is initial benefit. It may not just be I'm more moving, which can happen after just a few weeks. But it looks like it makes other structural changes I mentioned, like the DNA and your chemicals you make. They take 6-8 weeks to really take hold, right? So you can see why you want to continue. But to your point, the thing to tell people is that this is not curative. This is going to help as part of your other therapies, because otherwise they will give up after, well, it didn't fix more than a little bit of my pain. What's the point? Like you have to put the expectations right. It's going to help you with your pain syndrome, but it's not going to complete zero. You still have your issues. Your doctor's working on it, but it'll make you much more functional. The studies say so. But if you look at the studies, they're 3 months or 6 months, right? They're not short, because those people investigating also did other studies before, which are not RCTs, to realize it needs to be long term. So I looked at the study they did after many other studies to show, okay, we did a real study. So time, yes, 3-6 months, I would say. But also I would say that because your other change, the simple thing is movement, as you said, all they'll get better probably early. But the structural changes in each cell is calmer, and my system is calmer, making less of these toxic kind of responses. That's the more important goal, right? That's where I'm going to root cause fixes. I'm going to get less inflammation. I'm actually helping the disease now. That takes longer. So I think the idea is to continue for long term. If you stop, well, let's say you did the 3 month and you got this DNA changes and the message changes. We know that if you stop, it still sustains for several weeks. It doesn't completely drop off. So you may still feel I get free benefit, but I wouldn't stop because of that, because it's going to go away and it's going to be hard work to go back again. But if you stop, you may still see benefit for a few weeks. If you've done it for less about 3 months, you'll see some benefit still. That tells you robust. It tells you it's not just the yoga; it's something else that's changed that's happening. So yeah, I would say that once something works for, like say these are 4 poses, 5, 2 work. Let's say you help guide them to 2 that work, and then fine, they'll tell you, okay, those 2 worked. Let's keep those 2 on board, right? Maybe add the other one once in a while, but important is they continue for a while. Then they'll start seeing that, but it won't go away. So your expectations are it's going to help you be more functional and do more things, but it's not a cure mostly because the systems are broken, the joints also arthritis. If it does, it makes a very long time. So physical change takes a long time. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you don't want to commit to that early up front. You would say that who knows what years we do it, it might get to a point where it's completely gone. But right now, persist with it, expect 20-30% benefit. You will definitely see that. The studies show that. If you're loyal and diligent, you'll see that benefit. Keep going. Hope probably put it like that.
Thank you.
So, good question answers. In chronic pain, I would like to say this, that as Dr. Devendra has already been saying many times, that yoga, meditation, all are more of preventive nature rather than you can say completely curing system. There are certain things which are which can be intoxicants and accumulated in the body until and unless we detox all those toxicants. And so it may be that the yoga will not work until the body gets detoxified. So this is also the one of the reasons, and that sometimes the yoga doesn't help to come out of the particular problem. And if something is already damaged or what we say is not functioning, so in that condition, yoga cannot help you a lot, but it can help you to boost your mental what we say mental power to tolerate the situation and to be happy in that state. So in that way, we have to understand the importance of yoga. And sometimes it can also help to come out of the problems to some extent, or maybe completely. So it depends on the physical conditions of the patients. Okay? All medicines have some limitations, whether it is allopathic or homeopathic or yoga. Okay. So we have to be very much clear that our food system should be also appropriate. If we are taking wrong food and saying doing yoga, that will not work. Okay. If there is so much toxic elements in your body, you are taking all every day, and you think that yoga will clear everything, so that doesn't work. So we have to be very much clear that everything doesn't work 100% or for in all the cases, but yes, it is after all very helpful, preventive, and also has no side effect. Okay, and also cost effective. It is your own inner healing system which is being activated by the yoga system, instead of depending on the external means. Clear? So you have enough healing energy inside. Just you have to move your fingers of the hands, or do some exercise, or meditate, or do some affirmations. Sometimes we think that the problem is very big, but actually it was not so big. Sometimes the simple thing can work to deal with a bigger problem. So yes.
Yes, it's you know, people will ask us, I mean, the charts are very clear, like these poses will help for this condition. And you know, it's just a realistic approach to saying, you know, both medicine and yoga may be beneficial in certain conditions. Yeah.
Yes, correct. We should not be absolute in or absolute in our approach. Our approach should always be relative.
Yeah, I think the medicine, like the pain
Yes.
medicine and yoga,
Mhm.
could be synergistic, because once
Yes.
the pain is reduced, we may be able to do yoga more efficiently, and that would, in the long run, reduce that chronic condition.
Yes.
Mm.
After
Yeah, I like
getting
the
the
concept.
worst situation, if we are looking for any treatment, it may be that no treatment will work in that condition. Okay. So we have to be careful when the problem starts, and not after getting worse, out of control, and you are looking for the support of yoga. No. Your lifestyle should be also very right, so that it will not harm your body.
Mm.
So lifestyle also plays a very crucial role in maintaining health. So, okay, very good discussions, and the presentation was always wonderful by Dr. Devendra. Is collecting all the important and very updated data about the things. So, thank you very much, Dr. Devendra. Now it is the time of meditation. So yesterday we have started contemplation of endurance. So here sometimes if no treatment works, then it is endurance which will work. Okay, and make you always happy in all worse or painful conditions. So sit in comfortable posture. With straight backbone and knee, keep both the hands in the posture of knowledge. Make your body completely relaxed. Close your eyes softly. With 5 Om sounds, we will start meditation. Take a long and deep breath and make a sound. The voice is clear. It is not echo. There is no echo. Yes. Om. 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 Relax. Relax your entire body, mind, and vocal cord. Make a resolution. I am practicing meditation for the purification of my psyche. I am practicing Praksha meditation for the purification of my psyche. I am practicing Praksha meditation for the purification of my psyche. Now relax your whole body. Concentrate your mind on the big toe of your right foot. Starting from the toe, see each and every part of your body up to the head. Giving auto suggestion to be relaxed. Relax. Relax. Attain complete relaxation throughout the body. Concentrate your mind, consciousness Concentrate your consciousness on the entire region of lungs from neck to heart. Repeat an affirmation 9 times in the following words aloud. My power of endurance is becoming stronger. My power of endurance is becoming stronger. My power of endurance is becoming stronger. Repeat this affirmation for 9 times verbally and 9 times mentally, so that it can enter into your subconscious mind and can reflect in your behavior. My power of endurance is becoming stronger. I am becoming free from intolerance. I am becoming free from intolerance. I am becoming free from intolerance. My power of endurance is becoming stronger, and I am becoming free from intolerance. Visualize these words written on the chest region in bright green color. Read each word slowly and silently. and repeat this exercise for few seconds. With your mind's eye, visualize everything around you, including the air itself, colored bright green. Take a deep breath and slowly inhale. Visualize that you are breathing long streams of green air. Continue the breathing exercise for a few seconds. Now focus your attention on Ananda Kendra, that is center of bliss, located near the heart, thymus gland, or Anahat Chakra. And visualize bright green light radiating from this center. Continue this for few seconds. Visualize the affirmation in the green light radiations. The affirmation is, I realize that my positive attitudes of endurance has become stronger. I realize that my positive attitudes of endurance has become stronger and I have become free from intolerance. Visualize yourself as a very strong, tolerant person. Again, concentrate your consciousness on the entire portion of lungs from neck to heart and repeat this syllable that I am completely patient. I am completely a patient person. I am completely a patient person. See yourself as a very patient person. You are not impatient. You can wait for the things without any reaction. Visualize patience in yourself. I am a completely patient person. There is no intolerance. See in yourself. You are a very strong, tolerant person. Free from all intolerance or impatience. Now visualizing yourself as a very tolerant man or person. Take a too long breath to conclude the meditation. With 2 Om sounds, we will conclude our meditation. Om. Om. Now rub the hands, keep both the hands on the eyes and open your eyes gently. Done? Are
Very
you,
powerful, Swamiji.
are
Very
you,
powerful. Very
yes.
powerful.
Are you able to perceive yourself as a patient, tolerant person? Yes. The road rage happens due to impatience. And most of the struggles happen due to impatience and intolerance. So if these 2 qualities come, then half of that struggles or problems and issues will be vanished. So,
Thanks.
yes. Monks and nuns, they live the life of tolerance. There are 22 types of natural such situations which the monks and nuns tolerate. Extreme heat, extreme cold, mosquitoes, uncomfortable places, food. Sometimes people disrespect them, they don't respect. So all these things come in the life of monks and nuns, but they tolerate because they want to be stable on their path of spirituality. Because of these hurdles, they do not want to give up their high goals.
So Samniji is the center of bliss, the center of tolerance.
Yes, center of bliss, because our heart, sometimes we say, our heart should be under our control, no?
Mm-hmm.
So the emotions, they all are emotions, no?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So mostly emotions are the symbol, or heart is the symbol of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Heartbeat should not increase at least.
Sometimes you talk about the thymus also, Samiji, which is near there. So sometimes
What do you say?
you also mention the thymus as the kendra also. So just they're very similar.
Yes, because the center of bliss is located near the thymus gland, or you can say that is the place. If we are in the blissful state, then we can tolerate easily everything and anything.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm.
So that's why blissful state must be. So thymus gland should be properly active, or this place should be properly active so that you can always be in the blissful state, in a happy state. Okay, so it will automatically give you to tolerate everything.
Very
So-
nice.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so some people have given feedback, but some have not. But since they were going to publish, so if somebody wants to give, still you have time for today. Okay, otherwise it is not
Yes.
necessary.
Maya,
Yeah,
have you received my feedback?
yeah, you have given.
Yes.
Okay, you have sent through email.
Through the chat.
Oh, through the chat. Okay, I will see. So I missed. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for.
Have session
Nami
tomorrow?
Namaste, Samiji.
Yes.
Devendra Bhai, do we have session tomorrow?
So no
No.
session tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow is holiday, no?
Tomorrow and Thursday, there's no session.
Okay.
And then on Friday, Samnijis will be giving your session, Samniji, on the pranayams and mudras for pain.
Mhm.
And then on Saturday, Ramesh Bhai will once again do his session for asanas,
Okay.
covering for pain management. And that will conclude the week on pain, chronic pain management. And then after that, the next week, I'm blanking on what it is, but it is in the schedule I don't have in front of me. The next medical condition will begin.
Okay. So tomorrow, 31st and 1st, no session.
No session.
Okay.
Everyone can have a break.
Party time.
New year will start. No?
Time.
Party for the new year. Yes.
So yes, happy New Year to everybody. Okay, because
Nami Naman Sami Sat.
Vandamino Samiji.
thank you. So please, Shivani, can you open your video? I can take the photo of the screen for giving in the course, especially. So please, yes. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Nami Namaste.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Happy New Year, everybody. We'll see you in the new year.
Yes, happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
The new year should start with good health and regular practice of yoga, which you have learned.
Love the meditation. We do that every day, but yoga
Yes,
is
yoga is
occasionally.
yoga in the sense of a comprehensive.
Yes.
Okay, so yoga means meditation is the main part of yoga.
Mhm. Really nice course. I'm
But
so
the
glad
Western
I'm
world
doing this.
Yeah, the Western world understands you by yoga only physical exercise, but that is not the real meaning.
Mm.
Mhm.
Which connects to yourself or divine, that is yoga. And that is meditation. Physical exercise only the tools to support you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vandami Namaste.
Nami Naman Sami.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Devendra Bhai.
There's so much to learn. It's amazing how you guys are doing this. It's a really nice, comprehensive course. Very nice.
Yes.
We're crazy, you know that.
Not at all. Sharing knowledge is good. Thank you.
Thanks.